He then served nearly 10 years as president of the Pocahontas County Commission. Advancing to the state level, he won his bid for a seat in the House of Delegates, where he served 1 year before being appointed to fill an unexpired term in the West Virginia Senate. Commissioner Helmick has also been active in the business community as owner of H&S Welding Supply, Home Health Supply, and Snowshoe Ski Resorts Mountaintop Athletic Club. He operates a natural spring water bottle company on his 200-acre farm in Minnehaha Springs, Pocahontas County, with his wife, Rita, a lawyer and former teacher. Please join me in welcoming Walt Helmick.
He did good. He got Minnehaha Springs right. A lot of times that's hard for people to do, but it's a little place in Pocahontas County that is 25 miles from the Greenbrier. That's West Virginia's best and the tourism attraction and housing resort. So I said 35 from the Greenbrier, 25 from Virginia's best, which is the Homestead, and 29 from Snowshoe. So I have a lot to do if I had money. I mean, there's great places for entertainment and all those things at the Greenbrier, the Homestead, and at Snowshoe. However, it takes money at those places, so I'm a little, I'm a little curtailed there. I don't have enough money to support all the activities that I would like to have done over the years. The introduction was very nice. I appreciate it. I have been involved from your age on out. When I was in high school, I was captain of the football and the basketball teams at Webster Springs High School. I was indeed a Wildcat. Now they've changed that, and consolidation has put them together, and with Cowan, which was our enemies, the Cowan Bulldogs. But what wonderful people they had over there. Number of friends that I made in those days at Cowan and throughout West Virginia. But I learned a great deal. I learned while I was in high school that you've got to build a consensus. You cannot take a hard position and simply live with it. It won't work. If you look around today, look in Washington. Now you're the future. You're the future. You know, in your mind, you can maybe come up and conjure up something else. But you are the future of this great country of ours. Not only the future of West Virginia. Some of you will stay. Some of you will go. I just mentioned a situation where I was in Alaska back several years ago, and I met two people. One was from Idlemay, West Virginia, and some of you will know where that's at. And she was director of transportation for the state of Alaska, a commanding position. The next day I was at a behavioral health conference in Anchorage, and I looked on the agenda, and there was a gentleman from West Virginia. He was the guest speaker, and he was from Elkins, West Virginia, and he was the state director of behavioral health services. And so yes, those people were involved. They knew how to build a consensus, to compromise. That's what politics is all about. I have been involved. I have been involved. It got in my blood when I was your age, and I campaigned. I campaigned for whatever I did. I worked, and I'm proud of this. I worked hard at whatever I was elected to do or whatever I wanted to do. And so I was elected in 1976, some 40 years ago, and I've been on the ballot ever since. I've had 24 different opponents, and I don't know their last name. I never, ever refer to my opponent. Never, ever. I say, this is what I can do. This is what you can do. And that's what I want to impart to you today. But we always build a consensus from a Board of Education to build new schools, in this case, Pocahontas County. And later, throughout West Virginia, I was involved because of the school building authority, to where we built schools throughout West Virginia. But I had to look across the desk, look across the table, and look another person, he or she in the eye, and say, I need you to do this, or what do you think we should do next? What direction are we going to go? And we were able to do certain things. I did them with, in all honesty, I tried this on an everyday basis, to do it with what they call class. Now, you folks are a chosen group, and you've been chosen because you've demonstrated some sense or some direction, whether it was somebody saw in you, some leadership. And believe me, this country needs that leadership. This state needs that leadership. And wherever you might be, whether it's at a national level, and I'm talking about politics, but I can change this. I can say it about the business world. I've been there, but I always had to build that consensus. I always had to look across the table or look out the window and talk to somebody that I knew that I could trust, that I could take to the next level, and I always tried to do it with class. So what is class? It's what you are, where you are. Now, if you come in here, for instance, let me give you an example. If you go to church and you don't have a shirt on, there's no class. I mean, that is wrong. It is what you are, where you are. That's the way I've determined it. I never read that out of a book. I just looked at my practical experience and said, you've got to do certain things where you are. You've got to show who you truly are. And if somebody were to come in here and start shooting a gun, whether it was loaded or unloaded, where it was blanks or whatever, certainly wouldn't be a class act. It's the wrong place at the wrong time. It would be all right if they were hunting. That's a great sport, but not in here. It's the way you conduct yourself. Now, if you're an elected official, let's say to the county commission, which is a wonderful position. I've gone through them all. I've been elected to 5 offices. That is the Board of Education, County Commission, House of Delegates, State Senate, and Commissioner of Agriculture. And so as I go through each one of them, and that's in 5 decades, the 40s, the 40 years, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, the 2000s, and now the teens. And so each one of them I work diligently at, but always mindful of the fact that there had to be a coalition built to go to the next level. You'll hear all kinds of, I don't know of any other word to use, but trashy remarks from the federal down when they're running for public office. And you're big enough to understand, smart enough to understand, you're blessed. So you look at what's being said and you say, no, you make a difference. Talk to your folks, your family, your neighbors, wherever, and say, that's not what we're all about in America. That's not the way we should go. If you believe in it, then push what you believe in. But a lot of what you hear is not the way that we need to go. And I'm not talking about, that comes from either party or the third parties, whatever it might be, Libertarians, Democrats, Republicans, whatever it might be. But when I was a county commissioner, we built a new hospital. Wasn't easy. Wasn't easy at all, because you had factions. You had this group, that group, the other group opposing, some of them with you. I stayed the course. I was president of the county commission, and I stayed the course. I stayed right down the line. And knowing very well, after I'd done the research, I knew that we had to have a medical facility. Pocahontas County, where I was county commissioner for many years, a wonderful position to be in. But Pocahontas County is the most remote county in West Virginia. You only have 1.2 students per square mile. You have to go everywhere to find students. It's so big, and very few people live there. The most remote county, but you have to have medical services. And you will be faced with this. You have to have a good education system. Then you can be proud. And there's nothing wrong with being a competitor when you look across the room or across the way, wherever it might be. There's nothing wrong with being a competitor. Be a competitor. That'll bring you to the next level. And so we were able to build a new hospital, a new landfill, water and sewage throughout Pocahontas County, again, because we could not depend on anybody else. We simply had to show the leadership and the ability to do it, and somebody had to build the consensus to do it. I had good people with me. We put it together, and some of those people are still around today, and I have wonderful conversations with them about what we accomplished. And when we went to the state legislature, we were in terrible shape. But over the years in the state legislature, where they hesitate now to look at even renewing or revisiting a tax that was there to bail this great state of ours out, we can make it a great state, we can make it a greater state. But when you look at it, in 1989, none of you folks were born in those days, I don't guess. No, you weren't. Well, you guys were, but I mean the participants. But anyway, 1989, we had to step up and raise $400 million in taxes to bail our state out. Now, I'm a very conservative person. I'm a conservative Democrat, but I'm very conservative. I didn't want to do that. But as I talked and looked at the situation in West Virginia, I simply had to do that. I voted for every one of them. It's tough to vote from 0 to 6% on food tax for against West Virginia. That's what it amounted to. But it was not really against. At the end of the day, it was for, because we bailed the state out. Later, I became second in the Senate, in the West Virginia State Senate. The governor now, Earl Ray Tomlin, and I basically ran the West Virginia Senate. He was president of the Senate, and I was chair of finance. We had to do many, many things that were difficult, but we were able to do them and move forward. I chaired the finance committee, as he chaired the finance committee before me, for 8 years. And I was there 8. Earl Ray Tomlin was there 8 years as chairman of the finance committee. I was very fortunate. When I left, all of our bills were paid. All of our bills were paid. And we had $1 billion in the bank. That's the rainy day fund that they're talking about if you keep up, and you should. I know that you young folks are into social media. I understand that. But look at the hard, cold facts. Don't determine your future from looking at what might be on the social media, the Facebooks or whatever. I don't even have to do it. I don't do it. I don't fool with it. But at the end of the day, I suggest to you that you look and study current events, because that's where you're headed. You're headed toward a situation where every one of you, each and every one of you in this room, will be cast into a position to where you have to make difficult decisions. You do that understanding where you are, and as a class person. Now today, I was in Wheeling at a law firm, Borders and Borders. It's also up in Pittsburgh, okay? And so we were having a discussion, and one of the gentlemen says, Walt, you've been involved in the Board of Education, County Commission, House of Delegates, State Senate, but why? And this only been 3 or 4 weeks ago. But why agriculture? I'll tell you why agriculture. Because West Virginia today, that is the best opportunity of anything that I've ever done. Because at one point, and I'm not talking about reinventing or inventing, I'm talking about revisiting. At one point, West Virginia was truly an agricultural state. We dominated. The industry in West Virginia, the biggest, was agriculture. In 1930, up until that period of time, it was agriculture. And so today we find ourselves away from agriculture, up north where they had wonderful growing areas, Marshall County, Ohio County, Hancock County, Brooke, and Wetzel counties. A great growing area because you're near Pittsburgh. What you don't consume yourself, you can sell. You've got a market up there because we are blessed to be located the way we're located. But the steel industry came to northern West Virginia. The largest employer in West Virginia was indeed Weirton Steel. So they got away from agriculture. It was better to go. And I understand and accept the fact that that's the way it worked. They went to the steel mills. In this area of West Virginia, they left agriculture. And they went to the glass industry. In the Kanawha Valley, which is a great agricultural area, they left agriculture and went to the chemical industry. But today, those industries are basically gone on a decline. Coal, which peaked out at 125,000 jobs in 1948, got many problems today. We're not going to see coal industry the same as we once did it. We'll see coal for my lifetime and for your lifetime. We'll be involved with it, but not at the level. So it behooves us to accept the challenge, to take it to the next level. You see, if you're staying in West Virginia, help us change this state. So diversification has to occur, and I say to you, agriculture, in my case, and in the cases of many of you in here, I'm hopeful, will help diversify the economy in West Virginia. So why agriculture? Because, friends, there is where the opportunity is. I know very well that I've got to build a consensus to do my job. I've got to look across the table. I've got to look in the eyes of each and every one of you folks in here at some point and say, we need to do this. We need help. Don't be concerned about it. Do it in a way that's acceptable, that indeed is a class act. It's who you are, where you are. Thanks again for giving me the opportunity to speak with you. I'd like to talk a lot longer, but I see just a little bit of movement, which means that I probably have talked long enough. So thanks again. I appreciate you.
As a token of our appreciation for you coming and speaking to us, I'd like to present to you a Bowie State Challenge coin. So thank you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Of all the things that I've been blessed and been able to do over the years, for some reason, I never got chosen to come here. And to be honest with you, I wanted to come very much. I did get to go to Tucker County to a leadership camp at Camp Horseshoe, but not here. And so believe me that I wanted to. You folks are blessed to be here. So thanks again, not only for the token, but for the opportunity to talk with you and to be a part of this wonderful scene here today. Thanks again. Appreciate you.